President Obama speaking at the summit here, Dave. I'll toss back to you.
Thank you. We do, in fact. The U.S.-Africa Business Forum. He was just introduced by Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York City and the head of the Bloomberg Philanthropies, which has announced a number of initiatives in Africa. The president now speaking, where we understand that he'll take some questions from some members of the audience. In the meantime, he's got some statements, and we are going to listen in.
I want to welcome all of our partners who are joining us from across Africa. Heads of state and government, and let me welcome the delegations from Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea, with whom we are working so urgently to control the Ebola outbreak and whose citizens are in our thoughts and prayers today. I also want to welcome Madam Chairperson Dlamini Zuma of the African Union Commission, President of the African Development Bank, Donald Keburuka, as well as the President of the World Bank, Dr. Jim Kim. Please give them all a round of applause. And I want to acknowledge members of Congress who are here and who are such great champions of Africa's engagement with, America's engagement with Africa. You know, in a city that does not always agree on much these days, there is broad bipartisan agreement that a secure, prosperous and self-reliant Africa is in the national interest of the United States. And most of all, I want to thank all of you, the business leaders, the entrepreneurs, both from the United States and from across Africa, who are creating jobs and opportunity for our people every single day. And I want to acknowledge my leaders from across my administration who, like Penny, are your partners, including our U.S. Trade Representative, Michael Froman, USAID Administrator Raj Shah, and our new head of the Millennial Challenge Corporation, Dana Hyde, President of the Export-Import Bank, Fred Hochberg, Director of the U.S. Trade and Development Agency, Lee Zack, and our President and CEO of OPIC, Elizabeth Littlefield. So we are here, of course, as part of the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, the largest gathering any American president has ever hosted with African heads of state and government. And this summit reflects a perspective that has guided my approach to Africa as president. Even as Africa continues to face enormous challenges, even as too many Africans still endure poverty and conflict, hunger and disease, even as we work together to meet those challenges, we cannot lose sight of the new Africa that's emerging. We all know what makes Africa such an extraordinary opportunity. Some of the fastest growing economies in the world, a growing middle class, expanding sectors like manufacturing and retail, one of the fastest growing telecommunications markets in the world. More governments are reforming, attracting a record level of foreign investment. It is the youngest and fastest growing continent with young people that are full of dreams and ambition. You know, last year in South Africa, in Soweto, I held a town hall with young men and women from across the continent, including some who joined us by video from Uganda. And one young Ugandan woman spoke for many Africans when she said to me, "We are looking to the world for equal business partners and commitments, and not necessarily aid. We want to do business at home and be the ones to own our own markets." That's a sentiment we hear over and over again. When I was traveling throughout Africa last year, what I heard was the desire of Africans, not just for aid, but for trade and development that actually helps nations grow and empowers Africans for the long term. As president, I've made it clear that the United States is determined to be a partner in Africa's success, a good partner, an equal partner, and a partner for the long term. We don't look to Africa simply for its natural resources. We recognize Africa for its greatest resource, which is its people and its talents and their potential. We don't simply want to extract minerals from the ground for our growth. We want to build genuine partnerships that create jobs and opportunity for all our peoples, and that unleash the next era of African growth. That's the kind of partnership America offers. And since I took office, we've stepped up our efforts across the board. More investments in Africa, more trade missions like the one Penny led this year, and more support for U.S. exports. And I'm proud that American exports to Africa have grown to record levels, supporting jobs in Africa and the United States, including 250,000 good American jobs. But here's the thing, our entire trade with all of Africa is still only about equal to our trade with Brazil, one country. Of all the goods we export to the world, only about 1% goes to sub-Saharan Africa. So we've got a lot of work to do. We have to do better, much better. I want Africans buying more American products. I want Americans buying more African products. I know you do too, and that's what you're doing here today. So I'm pleased that in conjunction with this forum, American companies are announcing major new deals in Africa. Blackstone will invest in African energy projects. Coca-Cola will partner with Africa to bring clean water to its communities. GE will help build African infrastructure. Marriott will build more hotels. All told, American companies, many with our trade assistance, are announcing new deals in clean energy, aviation, banking, and construction worth more than $14 billion, spurring development across Africa and selling more goods stamped with that proud label, Made in America. And I don't want to just sustain this momentum. I want to up it. I want to up our game. So today I'm announcing a series of steps to take our trade with Africa to the next level. First, we're going to keep working to renew the African Growth and Opportunity Act and enhance it. We still do the vast majority of our trade with just 3 countries, South Africa, Nigeria, and Angola. It's still heavily weighted towards the energy sector. We need more Africans, including women and small and medium-sized businesses, getting their goods to market. And leaders in Congress, Democrats and Republicans, have said they want to move forward. So I'm optimistic we can work with Congress to renew and modernize AGOA before it expires, renew it for the long term. We need to get that done. Second, as part of our Doing Business in Africa campaign, we're going to do even more to help American companies compete. We'll put even more of our teams on the ground advocating on behalf of your companies. We're going to send even more trade missions. Today, we're announcing $7 billion in new financing to promote American exports to Africa. Earlier today, I signed an executive order to create a new President's Advisory Council of business leaders to help make sure we're doing every single thing we can to help you do business in Africa. And I would be remiss if I did not add that House Republicans can help by reauthorizing the Export-Import Bank. That is the right thing to do.